What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out the all-new 2025 Nissan Murano. This one is a platinum all-wheel drive finished in the Aurora Blue with that black two-tone roof design. MSRP is around $51,400. So what do you guys think? Is this what Nissan needs? Do they need to make something that is really luxurious for the money and maybe even extremely better than the competition due to the cool futuristic style as well as the luxurious feel for a price point that is similar to very generic cars? So is the new Murano what Nissan needed to really just ramp up what they can achieve? So with that said, let's take a look underneath the hood. This car is going to feature the 2-liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 241 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. We have a 9-speed automatic along with the all-wheel drive system. Curb weight is around 4,400 pounds. It has an 18.7 gallon fuel tank, and you're looking at 21 miles per gallon in the city with 27 out on the highway. Taking a look at the styling, obviously the Murano honestly needed an update a long time ago, so really cool to see just this all new design. You're gonna get the headlights up above with this cool triple beam, dark housing, and it fades into this black trim piece where it says Murano. Kind of reminds me ironically of the new Ferrari 12-cylinder or whatever they call it, but it kind of has that cool like black stripe that new Ferrari is going to also have. So a really unique design cue right there. On the front, you're going to get the forward-facing camera in your badge, nice gray grille, and I like how these lights are integrated into the grille as well. If we take a look at them lighting up, when the car is on, of course, they will all light up really nicely. You have more openings down below with parking sensors, safety sensors, some black trim. I think it comes together really nice. I think they've done a good job giving this a super modern appearance. You have some sharp lines in the hood as well, fading towards the windshield. Comes together in a pretty cool fashion. And then down below on the side, you're gonna get these 21-inch wheels, two-tone color with a multi-spoke look, and then sharp body lines throughout this front end. You're gonna get some black trim down below with some contrast and contours throughout these door panels, body color door handles, and then black on the mirror caps with an integrated turn signal and a side view camera. Then there's this nice chrome trim throughout the side that dips down really low, kind of making like an X, which kind of looks pretty cool. So it has a unique style to the side, really large rear fenders as well. And then the whole roof, you're gonna see that panoramic sunroof up on top. For the whole side profile, I think it's got a pretty good profile, really good proportions front and back. Wheels contrast nicely, and this color is super cool. It's got like a light green blue color in the sun, and then it gets really dark in the shaded areas. You're gonna get a massive LED taillight. You can see the badge in the center, tailgate release, your badging throughout the rear, the all-wheel drive logo in platinum, and then you have black and gray trim all throughout the back with your parking sensors. So it comes together really well. Can't complain, honestly. I think it's a pretty stylish, futuristic looking car. So for cargo space, just pressing that button, we can pop open the lift gate and you have a ton of hidden cargo space. This has a huge trunk. You can see how flat the load floor is. There's even a cubby on the far left side as well as the far right side. And then you can lift this up. We got a full-size spare subwoofer for this 10-speaker Bose audio system. And then one thing I really like, you can grab these handles and easily fold down the seats. So really cool to see that. They are spring assisted, and I think the seatbelt is just locked. There we go. But you're gonna see just how much space this has, and being, you know, all-wheel drive, you could load snowboards or bikes. Honestly, really use this for a lot of things. Pressing that button once, we can go ahead and close it. And then moving on to the interior, this is where it's gonna surprise you. So in back with the seats folded flat, you're gonna see just how much extra cargo space you're gonna get. Definitely a really usable area with no bumps or anything in the way. Lifting these up. So this interior, as you can tell, has like a green blue leather. So really cool. I love the quilted leather stitching and everything. On the door panel, we have the two-tone. You're gonna see the black up above, all soft touch material. Same with all this, it's all padded and soft touch. You have this cool texture right here with ambient lighting. There's even manual sunshades in back and then storage down below. For the seats, you're gonna get the perforations throughout the center, and then I love the quilted with the white colored stitching. Armrest is in the center. You can just slide your fingers there. It is kind of hard to grab, but we have a nice amount of storage in the armrest itself. Obviously a 3-seater back here. You have air vents, heated seats, 2 USB-Cs, and then storage over there. And there's even a lever here you can pull to fold these down. Now hopping inside at 5'11" with the driver's seat at my height. However, it is slid back with comfort access. I still have a ton of space. Nice panoramic roof, lots of room in here, honestly. Now these are not adjustable, but I think this seat back is at a good recline, feels pretty comfortable. The bottom is a little on the flat side, so I wouldn't mind a little bit more leg support, but overall can't really complain too much. It seems like a pretty nicely appointed rear seat for a family crossover. Hopping out now, I do notice the doors kind of heavy, so they honestly end up closing themselves a lot. Going into the front now, the door panels finish off just like we saw in back. It's the same soft touch, the two-tone, the lighting, memory seating as well, all of those controls, power controls up above as well for the front seats. Then you have your massage button, and then more of this green-blue color, which looks really, really cool. Contrast quilted stitching, and then a unique two-spoke design on the steering wheel. So hopping inside, foot on the brake, let's fire it up. You have two 12.3-inch screens, and then the steering wheel looks super cool with the contrast stitching, the nice black leather around it. And then on the left side, we can see all the controls for your cruise control settings and volume, and then controls for the two screens as well as track on this right side. There are paddle shifters for the transmission, and then taking a look at the screen right here, you can go into all sorts of different things, safety settings, information like that, basically everything you would expect to see. And then I like how you can just toggle to the other side, and that will continue over into the other screen where you can go into more settings like that. So really cool design where you can flip from left screen to right screen. We have the steering intervention, heated steering wheel, heads-up display. You got your nice air vent, and then I really like how the black soft touch material makes its way to the upper dash. Got more of the stitching flowing all the way around the interior. There's ambient lighting in this crevice down here, and then for the screen in the center, has a pretty cool look and feel. All sorts of different toggles that will pop upwards. You can see the apps as well. Continuing over, massaging seats you're able to adjust and go into. And you can see all these different settings. You have all their shortcuts down below over here, and then climate control is going to be in the screen for the most part. You can just toggle the center button. Everything pops up with all the different information. And then if you're in another screen, you can just toggle where the seat icon is, and it'll pop up with a little shortcut. Now you can also use these physical buttons. They have a haptic feedback, so you just kind of give it a little bit of pressure, and we can toggle everything right there. I wish there was a heated seat and cooled seat button, because every time I adjust them, you have to of course go into it, make your change. So I'm still not the biggest fan of having climate controls in screens. It just makes more sense down here, but at least they do give you some physical controls. Got the Murano name, volume on off, track button, hazards, and then you can see this wood trim style plastic. We have some plugs down below along with wireless phone charging. Drive mode is on the far right side where you can easily adjust your 3 modes. We have a shortcut to the camera system as well. So when I go here, you can get a good idea of all the cameras you're going to get in this car. Nice 360 design, top-down view. So really nice way just to see everything around this car. From here, you have auto start stop, more of the soft touch material. There is storage hidden down below. Cup holders and storage in the center. I love the color once again with more stitching, and then a good amount of space in the center. For the glove box, pretty large bucket as expected. And then one last look at the interior. It's a pretty cool design, honestly. I really like the unique styles you're going to get throughout this vehicle. Good use of material as well, and then that massive sunroof shade up above. Light color on the headliner. There is a sunglass holder as well. And then we have a nice thin mirror with garage door buttons underneath. All right, so setting off now in the new Murano. I will say it has some pep to that 4-cylinder engine. It's pretty nice to see how this has some good power to it. So with the paddle shifters, of course, you can take manual control, which is a cool touch, and then the 3 different drive modes. Sport will basically keep the RPMs a little bit higher, so a lower gear. But with that, just sticking into standard mode, kind of getting my bearings with this vehicle. It's a pretty nice car to drive overall. You have a really good view around. The dashboard is a little long compared to maybe other crossovers, but nothing really out of the world. You have a really good view through the windshield, and all the mirrors do a pretty good job. Over your left and right shoulder, really no crazy blind spots or anything like that. So a pretty easy vehicle to see around. And when you're taking just some nice twisty turns, it's a pretty confident and stable ride. You know, for 50 grand, you would expect this to be a nice driving car. And so far it is giving me that. It is really comfortable. The suspension is absorbing bumps nicely, and these seats are really nicely padded, got lots of different adjustments to them. Also, you have plenty of adjustments for the steering column. So seems like a pretty good vehicle just to daily drive and use on the day-to-day. Now, using the tech, this is my only complaint, is just the climate controls. I'm not the biggest fan of stuff in the screen. However, of course, you have the physical ones here that do make it easy, but while driving, I do find it a little challenging because I have to take my eyes off the road to find the button, and there's not really much feedback or texture when you touch it, so you do have to keep looking down at it, I find. So that's just my one thing. I would rather have dials and knobs, honestly. But overall, seems like a pretty easy to use interior. I think it is laid out really nice. Huge step up from the old Murano. Like, this is actually a nice car. It feels up to date, feels like a pretty cool place to be, and it drives nice. Steering has really nice weight to it. It's super effortless to operate. Really nothing challenging about just driving this car. So nice to see those aspects. You got the tech you need, and the build quality feels good. The fact that so many aspects are soft touch, it actually feels like a higher quality vehicle. I think they've really done a good job giving this a luxury vibe to where it's hard to find the true competitors, because if you look at the other brands like Nissan, you know, Toyota, Honda, I don't know if they really have a $50,000 two-row crossover like this that feels this luxurious. And then when you look into the luxury brands like maybe Mercedes, BMW, or Audi, it seems like their versions of this are going to be like 60 grand. So this is kind of a sweet spot in price point to where it actually feels really nice, like a premium car, and yet it's a more normal brand, and yet, I don't know, it's kind of in between the normal brands and the luxury brands, and I feel like it drives pretty nice. Now, with the 4-cylinder, the power delivery seems pretty good. The one thing I noticed, there's not really much engine braking. I'm off the throttle, and our speed isn't changing even going downhill. It's just kind of coasts as if it were in neutral. So one thing I've noticed, even slow speeds, like we're going uphill and it's barely dropping in speed. So there's really just not much engine braking when you take your foot off the throttle, which is taking a little bit getting used to. Just kind of coasts like it's in neutral, which is a little interesting. So if we toggle it down into eco mode, of course, throttle gets a little bit less touchy, just a little bit more conservative. But from a driver's perspective, can't really complain. It seems like a nice overall car to drive that's easy to operate. Camera system works really good in the slow speeds, and the placement of the vehicle, this isn't that large of a car, so it makes it really easy just to navigate it. Sharp turning radius, so not bad at all. Definitely got some pep to the power. However, even though it's all-wheel drive, it is definitely front-wheel drive bias. You get a lot of torque steer when you floor it. It gets really light in the steering and kind of starts driving all over the place. So that is the one thing. It's not a performance car, so you're gonna notice that for driving. But other than a little bit of torque steer and, you know, a little bit of extra steps to turn your heated seats on, it seems like a pretty nice to drive car.